I'm Mo Rocca, and I'm excited to announce Season 4 of my podcast, Mobituaries. I've got a whole new bunch of stories to share with you about the most fascinating people and things who are no longer with us. From famous figures who died on the very same day, to the things I wish would die, like buffets. All that and much more. Listen to Mobituaries with Mo Rocca wherever you get your podcasts.
Rookie season is over. Hey everybody, I'm Kelly Wilkniss here with Anita Joyce, and this is Decorating Tips and Tricks, episode 477, Decorate Like a Pro, Living Room Edition.
Oh yeah.
We are so excited.
I know, I love decorating the living room. I just think it's such a wonderful place to decorate. It's where you can hang out, and it's where you can invite your friends in. So I think it's a great place to start.
Yeah, and what I like about the living room and decorating it is it's different from every other room, or I should say different from the other very important rooms in your home because it's not utilitarian at all. It's not the kitchen. It's not the bathroom. It's not the office. So it can kind of be whatever you want it to be. And we're going to teach you how to decorate it beautifully and have it serve your needs and the needs of your family, and show you all the opportunities you have to really make that room in your house fabulous. But before we start today, we wanted to read a review. Now, you know, we love getting these reviews and we read every single one of them. We're not reading out loud to you to sort of pat ourselves on the back. We're just doing it really to thank the person who took the time to write the review. So it does take time. Apple doesn't make it that easy.
Yeah. Whatever you need to tell yourself, Kelly.
There you go. Apple doesn't really make it too easy to leave a review. So we really appreciate every single person that takes the time and their enthusiasm and puts it down on the computer and hit submit, because it really does make a big difference in how the show is then featured and then offered to other potential listeners. So here we've got this amazing review from Jenny R 920. Thank you, Jenny, so much. I'm going to read it to you guys now. Kelly and Anita, you two are inspiring me something fierce. Woo! Love it. My husband and I recently purchased a brand new home just built in Middle Tennessee, and all of the design choices were set when we bought it, and it is about 90% complete. That sounds very exciting. We are moving to the home from out of state, so we have not even seen it in person. Oh my gosh. Jenny, bold move. We have only seen photos, and while we were pleased with the build, it is a lot of gray and white. Listening to your podcast has me so excited to get there this summer and get cracking with some balance, symmetry, vignettes, and the like. Thank you for laying the foundation for me to visualize the right direction for our new home! Exclamation point. Jenny, congratulations to you and your husband. We couldn't be more excited, and I think that is an amazingly bold move to buy a house without even seeing it. I really like Tennessee, so if I'm in Nashville again visiting my friend, you're going to have to let me know where you are, because I would love to see what you've done to your now gray and white house. That's going to be absolutely fantastic when you're done with it.
I'm sure the house is wonderful. Happy to hear from you. Yes, thanks, Jenny.
So if anybody else wants to leave a really nice review for us, we'd be thrilled. Thank you so much. It just takes a little bit of time. Not a lot. I shouldn't scare you off. It doesn't take that long, but it does take effort, right? Everything does. So we appreciate everybody who does that. Hey, Jenny, if you need help with your house, Anita and I are here. We are available for design consults. We've had so many consults with many of our listeners, and we love doing them. So if anybody listening, Jenny included, are interested in doing a design consult with Anita and I, we'll have the link in the show notes. Okay, so Anita, let's dive into the living room. Decorate like a pro. What's your first tip?
My first tip is I'm thinking about the artwork over the sofa. If you have your sofa against a wall, then I think a lot of times people put artwork that is way too small above the sofa, or maybe they put a little bit on one side, or, I think you need to look at the whole wall, actually, to start with, and back up and kind of see the whole wall as one entity. And that biggest piece of artwork, and I'm thinking a really large piece of artwork, is going to go behind the sofa. And kind of keep in mind any other artwork on the wall kind of needs to work with whatever is over the sofa. And if you don't have one large piece of artwork, then you can go with maybe 3 pieces, or maybe some sconces, large sconces, and one large piece of artwork. But anyway, I just think it needs to be sized for your sofa.
That's a great place to start in the living room because art is so personal. As I mentioned in the introduction, the living room is a wonderful opportunity to showcase your style, your design, and your taste. And what better way to do that than with a really nice sized piece of art? What I say about the living room before I get into my particular tips is just don't knee-jerk to a design or a layout. Really think about how that room is going to serve you and serve you beautifully and serve your family or anybody else who's living there. You don't necessarily have to have a traditional sofa and 2 chairs and a big giant TV or all these things that you might normally see in a living room. As we said, it is not a utilitarian space, so it's kind of a blank slate. So if you're a book lover, then you're going to want to have bookcases. If you're all about comfort, then you're going to want to have a really, really comfortable sofa and some other comfortable places to sit. If you've got a giant family, then maybe you want to think about how you can get a big sectional in there. If you have a really important collection, or if you have a beautiful, beautiful piece of art, then maybe you're going to want to figure out how to showcase that the best. So really think about it. Open your eyes to all the possibilities. Have a look at your own living room. See what's going on there. Are there some choices that you made, whether it be in actual pieces or the layout, that was just seemed like that's what everybody does in the living room? You don't have to do it that way.
Yeah, I think you're right. In fact, you could do 4 chairs instead of a sofa and 2 chairs. There's so many different configurations and there's so many different things you can do. I think really it's important to kind of think about how you use the room and really kind of build from there. Because, not every time does a sofa make sense in every living room.
Absolutely. And, think about the space and how you get in and out of the room. So it has to function well as be beautiful. So really, when you boil it down, every living room should have just a few things. And these are just the sort of the must-haves: comfortable seating, a rug, side tables, and at least 3 light sources. Now, this is in my humble opinion, this is what every living room should have. Now, obviously, we're going to decorate like pros, so you're not going to stop there, but you want to keep going, but you can have, as Anita mentioned, all different ways of getting there, right? It doesn't have to be the traditional sofa or the traditional what have you. So let's dive into some of that stuff right now.
Well, I was going to go on to the rug next.
Perfect.
Okay. Because again, I think people make a mistake a lot of times with artwork being too small, especially over the sofa. And I see the same thing happening with that rug in the living room. And so in most cases, you do have a sofa that's maybe 7 feet long. So you're going to want a rug that's big enough to work, where the front feet of your sofa and the chairs are going to at least be on that rug. But it's even better if the rug completely fits all the furniture on it. So 8 by 10 is really probably the bare minimum, and really you want to go bigger than that in most cases. And if you have a rug that you really love, but you realize it is too small, you can layer them and put a neutral rug underneath that patterned rug, or just layer any 2 kinds of rugs. You can always go with like a sisal underneath, and that just works great with just about any rug, and then it's going to extend it and it'll work beautifully in your space.
Yeah, Great tip. And again, that's one of the foundational pieces in the living room. So a really well-sized rug. Really take the measuring tape out, or even get some painter's tape and put it down on the floor. Don't just see a rug in a catalog and pick it and say, oh, well, I think I can get away with the 8 by 10 when really you need the 11 by 14. So check it, double check it, and then make the purchase. And layering is a great option. So, but you're going to have one rug that's big enough. So, the bottom rug is going to have to be a large one to really fit the space. How about creating conversation areas? This is sort of a design pro concept, I should say, because a lot of people are just going to have everything pushed up against the walls, the sofa, maybe the chairs, and in reality, it's hard to talk to people. And that's sort of what's happening in the living room a lot. Or, you're in there and you're reading a book or something like that. Maybe you want to have the ottoman closer or another chair closer. Move things off the walls. Create conversation areas. And if you have a long room like I do for my living room, you may even be able to make 2 conversation areas. So sort of cluster the furniture. You can always push it away again, but see how it feels if you pull it off the walls and you kind of in a sense, circle the wagons a little bit, bring it in and around and see how that feels.
Yes. And talking about scale, the other thing to think about are your side tables. You want them at least, I would say, 25 inches tall, at least up to the arm of that sofa. I've seen this where the side tables are too short. And it just feels skimpy, like the too small rug feels skimpy. Those short tables can really feel skimpy. So when you've got the scale of a sofa, you really want those side tables to be sized properly. So make sure they're up to that side arm. Like I said, probably at least 25 inches. And if you've got a tall back sofa, then I think you might even want it a little bit taller because you want it to be in scale with your sofa.
You like them taller.
I love it tall.
Right?
Yes, I do.
I think that's nice too. I'd kind of rather reach up to, if even a little bit, to put a glass or something rather than reaching down.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I'm thinking of it visually as well.
Yeah. Let's see. Well, rifting off the tables, have side tables close enough to each seat that someone could reach over and put a glass down or a book or something like that. It feels really awkward to just have a chair and there's nothing on either side of it, particularly in a living room.
Oh, I think that's so mean to hand someone a glass when a guest comes over. They have no place to set it down. It just seems mean. And then they set it on the floor and the dog starts drinking out of it, which is no bueno. So,
they feel impelled to chug. It's not good.
Oh, here's your glass back.
Exactly.
Okay, so I'm going to move on to the mantle now. Most people do have one in their living room. If you don't, you can skip over, fast forward to the next point. When you've got your mantle, back in the old days, they really people tended to load them up with stuff. And now so many people have a TV above the mantle. But even if you don't, the look really now is for a very clean mantle. So I think a lot of these work best just to have nothing on the mantle. If you have artwork there or the TV there, you can just put 1 or 2 things or even nothing there.
Yes, you're absolutely right. If you've got a lot of stuff on your mantle right now, you might have put it there a long time ago. Just go have a look. Take some of it off. See how that feels. Maybe just put a little trio of small votives or small little vases with some greens cut in there. A candle maybe on either end. Super simple. See how you like that. You might like it better. So we talked about having tables close enough where you can put down a glass or put down a book. So let's talk about books for a second. If you really love books, and really who doesn't, but if you really like the look of books, put a bookcase in your living room. That's a great way to add height to the room. Also a wonderful way to add some personality. Everybody wants to look and see what people have in their bookshelves, checking out the spines. It kind of gives you a little insight into the person. So you might want to display your favorite collection of books. I wouldn't put my beach reads or some paperbacks there, but some beautiful books, maybe your collection of decor books or design books or gardening books or just novels that you really love. Bookcase is a great place to not only store the books, but then you have an opportunity to create these vignettes on one or more of the shelves. So I know we have episodes on how to create a bookcase, and we're probably due for another one of those soon. So, check those out. We'll link those in the show notes. But adding a bookcase, even a very slim one, I recently did that in my living room, and it made such a difference. If you've been a listener for a long time, I've kind of struggled with that one end of my living room because it is very long and narrow. And it felt like at times there was just not enough there. And then at one point I had way too much there. So I think I finally got it right. And I added a very slim bookcase there. And I love what it did for the room.
Nice. Did you end it on the short wall? Or did you put it on the short wall or the long wall?
I put it on the wall that is or shares the wall with my dining room. So it's opposite the two windows. So it's not, well, I guess it's it is the long wall, but it's
okay, thank you.
the deep end of it.
Okay.
And it's a small wall. It's just a sort of portion of a wall because there's an entry to the dining room right there.
Yeah, those long rooms are really hard to work with. So kudos to you to find something that's working there. And I love a bookcase in the living room. I have two in mine, and I feel like it's just such a wonderful way to display things. And it just really gives a room so much personality because you can do so much with those bookcases. Paint them different colors, really change out the things in the bookcase to completely change the feel of the room, go lacquered, go with more of a rustic feel. There's just so much personality you can add with those bookcases. Now, I want to go back to the mantle where the TV is or wherever your TV is. And do you have wires hanging down? Because if you do, that's a big no-no. So be sure and see if you can't get someone to come and put those behind the wall or see if maybe you can do it. But running those behind the wall is going to make you so much happier. You really don't want to be looking at those.
With 477 episodes, we do cover a lot of topics. We do have an episode all about getting rid of the wires, don't we, Anita?
That's right.
We can link that. Yeah,
yes,
some great ideas for that.
And right, and just to actually, which brings me to my next point, I'll just go ahead and mention it now, and that is any wires, try to hide those, run them behind a chest of drawers or something like that, or even duct tape them to the back of a leg. We have a lot more tips in the episode we'll link to, but that's just a quick one.
Hey, we'll be right back with the rest of the show, but keep listening so we can continue bringing you DTT. Green Chef is a delicious delight any time of year, but especially during the holidays. What a wonderful vision to behold as the Green Chef boxes on your doorstep. Green Chef is the #1 meal kit for eating well. And it makes eating well so easy with plans to fit every lifestyle, whether you're keto, paleo, vegan, vegetarian, gluten-free, or just looking to eat a more balanced diet. So let Green Chef take the work out of eating clean this holiday season. And if you've got guests coming, shop Green Bundles. They're now available at the Green Market. It's your one-stop shop for nutritious grab-and-go breakfasts, including vegan options, brunch kits, wholesome lunches, ready-to-eat snacks, veggie sides, and more. You can feel your best this December and do your best with Green Chef because they offset 100% of the delivery emissions as well as 100% of the plastic in every box. Go to greenchef.com/60DTT and use the code 60DTT and get 60% off plus 20% off your next 2 months. greenchef.com/60DTT and use the code 60DTT to get 60% off plus 20% off your next 2 months. Go ahead, clean out your closet, then head straight to Quince. I love every item Quince offers, from wardrobe to decor, and I can really recommend their Ultra Stretch Super Wide Leg Pant at $49.90. The price is unbeatable, and the look is so flattering. It keeps you in on top and flares out of the bottom. Everything feels right with Quince. The price, the quality, and the sustainability. Quince offers a range of luxury wardrobe and home goods at prices within reach. And like Quince's clothing, their home goods are priced 50 to 80% less than similar brands. Quince only works with factories that use safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing practices, along with premium fabrics and finishes. Once you've cleaned out your closet and refreshed with Quince, you can also add something to your home decor. So give your wardrobe and your home the refresh it needs with Quince. Go to quince.com/DTT to get free shipping and 365-day returns on your next order. That's Quince, QUINCE.com/DTT for free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/DTT. And let me know how you love those pants. Drapes, curtains. How do you feel about that in the living room?
Well, I mean, I could take them or leave them. I'm kind of more, I'd rather not have them. But if you do, I think just be careful that they're not too heavy looking. And also, you want to be sure that you've hung them up as high as you can toward the ceiling, that they hang down to the floor. Even if you don't have your window extending all the way from the ceiling to the floor, you want your curtains to. And you want them to hang so that they're not covered. So when you open the curtains all the way, you don't want them covering more than perhaps an inch of the window on either side, so that when you pull them open, you really can get all the light in as possible from the window. So that's something that is definitely a pro tip to get all that light in the house.
It certainly is, because a lot of people wouldn't think about that. And then you put that rod in the wall and you hang them up and you step back, and all of a sudden it's as if the drapes are drawn. It's dark because there's just too much fabric covering the window. So really think about that before you get the drill out or hire somebody to come and hang up those rods. You want to hang them high and hang them as wide as possible. And if you can't have a really wide installation of the rod, and if you just are adding some drapery really to add some texture or softness, fabric to the space, then think about just doing a very thin column of fabric. It's not ideal, but I had to deal with this. I have a lot of problems in this living room of mine because the one window just abutted up against the wall so closely, so I had to have both sides be very slim. And I was a little worried about what was that going to look like, but it really looks very nice. And under them, I have the natural woven blinds. So nice. I really wanted to bring your eye up because the ceiling's tall, and I really wanted to soften the space with some fabric. In the balance, I decided to go for it, even though in a perfect world, I would have had a much wider drapery panel. But so I guess the bottom line is there, you can get away with a very thin panel. I would probably do a solid like I did. I wouldn't do a big pattern and just have a little bit of it. But, if you did a linen or something like that, I have sort of a creamy linen, and it looks very nice. I don't notice it and say, oh, gosh, that drapery panel is too thin.
Right. And, usually you have 2 panels per window, one on either side. And I really like the look if the wall has 2 windows, to just do 1 panel on the outside of each window. And that's less fabric, and you just make sure it's wide enough to go all the way across the window. But usually I don't open or close them because I have the bamboo shades. So that's something you can do. But in my bedroom, the windows are too close to the wall, kind of like you were saying. So you can't really get a full panel on the outside. So on this one wall, the 1 panel is on the inside of those windows. So it's not on the corner side, but it's on the other side of the window, if you know what I mean.
I copied you and did that in my bedroom too. So we'll have to talk about that when we do Decorator Pro Tips Bedroom Edition, because that's what we both did there. So how about a coffee table or a cocktail table? Does anybody know the difference between those two things? Or do you think they're interchangeable? I think people use those terms interchangeably, but there really is a difference. The cocktail table, which became popular in the Roaring '20s, as you might imagine, is low, rectangular, or square, and used to serve cocktails. And the coffee table, which stemmed from the Victorian era, is usually round or oval and was higher, but over time came to sit a little bit lower based on the sofas that it was sitting in front of. So it's just a little smidge of a difference between them, where they came from and the shapes. Good either cocktail conversation or, coffee chat conversation. But the bottom line is, do you think you have to have one in a living room?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think if you've got a sofa, I think it's going to look odd without an ottoman or a coffee table or a cocktail table.
I agree. And the pro tip here, I guess, is you just don't have to have a cocktail or a coffee table. You can have an ottoman. You can have an ottoman with a tray on it. You can devise something that's different or more interesting than just simply a rectangular piece of wood or, metal or something like that. There's a lot of different options. You could even do a set of nesting tables if the biggest one is large enough to look like it balances nicely with your sofa, or spread a set of nesting tables out a bit. So, they are then, decreasing in size, but they're wider than they would be if they were all pushed together. There's a lot of different ways you can get to it.
I think this is like everything else we've talked about previously. It's all about scale. And this is another thing I see a lot, where somebody has a large sofa and then this small coffee table. And I think if you're going to go small, then you may want two in front of the sofa, or just scale it bigger so that it just really seems like it goes with the sofa that you've chosen. So another thing to think about while we're next to the sofa is the cushions on the sofa. Because
let me just go back to the coffee table for a second.
Yes,
Anita.
of course.
I think the coffee table is a place where you can really add some interesting tension to the living room. Because say you have a traditional sofa, traditional in shape, or maybe traditional in fabric or something like that, and maybe one or two matching chairs, and maybe you've got some wood pieces in there, or a side table, or a wooden bookcase or something like that. I think you can create some of the interesting tension that we like to see in a room with your coffee table. So your coffee table could be a completely different material. It could be metal. It could be glass. It could be shiny. It could be of a completely different type of design style. And then if you repeated that design style in maybe a lamp or something like that in another place in the room, and maybe a third element in that same style, you can really make the room so much more interesting. And a lot of coffee tables are not that expensive. You can use, the old standbys, Wayfair or Overstock or even Amazon, to get an interesting metal and glass coffee table that might really jazz up your other pieces of wooden furniture or upholstered pieces.
Yeah, I think well said. So there's a lot of options there, and look into them.
Okay, so you wanted to talk about
the sofa.
The sofa itself.
So, yes. So you think if you have your sofa, you're kind of stuck with it. Maybe you're kind of moved on with your style choice. And you're thinking, what am I going to do? I can't afford to replace the sofa. What am I going to do? And one option is what I did, which is to slip cover it. But I know not everybody.
I thought it was moving. Just moving and leaving the sofa behind.
Just move. Yeah, just move. That's right. Buy a new house. Well, if you can't afford a new sofa, then maybe you can't afford to move either. So you can make a slipcover for the whole thing, but I understand that's kind of an advanced skill. So there's another step here.
Okay, good.
You were laughing at me.
No, I was just laughing I was like, yeah, maybe there's an easier thing to do.
Yeah, so right. So that's the point, is there is something else that you can do, and that is to just make covers for the cushions, the back cushion. Change out the pillows. Of course, we talk about that all the time. But you can make covers for the cushions, the seat cushions or the back cushions. You can sew them. You can have them made. And then another thing that I've seen that I think is quite nice, is a very country English look, is to take a beautiful throw or blanket and wrap it around the cushions, just around the whole seat of the sofa. Have you seen that done?
Oh, yeah, that's kind of, it could be boho, it could be English country. I mean, you can really pull that, depending on what you're throwing over there. You could have it work with a bunch of different styles.
Right, especially like a Suzanne bedspread. Go on eBay, look for those. You see them a lot in English country style. Mm-hmm. And put that on there, and that's probably going to be big enough to cover the back and the seat. Just tuck it in, and I think that would really give it a fresh look. Pop some new pillows on, and then you'll have a whole fresh look for your sofa.
Or the really elegant look that I have currently on my beautiful charcoal linen sofa is a double layer of black drop cloths, because I have 3 dogs.
That's right. There you go.
When people come over, the dogs go in the kitchen, and the drop cloths come off, and the pillows
Oh, you
pop
take
on.
them off.
Well, when humans come to hang out in the living room, I take them off. But I mean, And sometimes, I have to say, when I clean them, usually I'll wash those when the dogs go get washed. Put them in the washing machine. So the sofa is free and I'm admiring it, how beautiful it is. I'm always afraid when I'm pulling it back, like somebody got their claws in something. But so far, so good. And I have to say, this very heavy duty drop cloth, and I got them in black, and you get them on Amazon in black, has done a wonderful job of preserving my sofa. I don't get to see it as often, but
I've had to start going with the throw over the cushions because let's see, one side of the cushion somebody used a magic marker on. That was permanently gone, so I was not coming out, so I had to flip it over. And then there's been a lot of accidents, spilled chocolate, ice cream, and all kinds of things. So I'm like, you know what? I'm kind of tired of washing this slipcover every week. Right. So we're moving on to a throw that I can throw in the washing machine a lot faster.
Good idea. How about adding a mirror to your living room? You know I love a mirror in every single room. So this would be a great room to have a mirror in. If you can have it over your mantle, that's a lovely place to have a mirror. It will reflect whatever you've got going on there. Maybe you've got some flickering votives or something super pretty. Or if that's not the right place for a mirror, try to position opposite a window. And then the mirror will reflect what's going on outside and then bring nature and openness to the space.
I think that's a great idea. And I love mirrors too. I mean, it does and there's so many beautiful ones. So don't just get a plain mirror. Go get a beautiful mirror that's going to add some interest to your room when you go do this. Now, another thing that you can do, and this is my solution to pretty much any decorating problem, is to add a French chair to the room. So
anything. It makes everything better. Oh, you have a cold?
Well, it kind of
get a French chair.
It kind of does. But seriously, if you want to have just kind of this really elegant pulled together look, I highly recommend, if you don't have any antiques in your room, to add a couple. It doesn't have to be all antiques, and a lot of times it's weird if it is all antiques. So I'm just suggesting maybe one or two. And think about that French chair. I think you're going to really like it. They're beautiful.
Well, I love my Bergère chairs.
Oh, yes.
Absolutely beautiful. And the little French chairs that are really elegant and lovely. I mean, who can resist, really? They're beautiful, and you can tuck them in anywhere. And again, it's that idea, even if there's a couple of looks like mid-century or something like that might really not go with a French chair, or maybe boho. I don't know how you feel about that, Anita, but there's a few things that maybe a French chair wouldn't be happy living with.
It's not going to go with arts and crafts.
Right.
The Japandi we talked about.
Right. That was it. But so many looks would be open to and hospitable to a little French chair, a little French doodad, because that, again, it's creating that tension. Like I just talked about having a different sort of cocktail table, but just don't do one thing in that style. So I think if you have a little French chair, then add a little something else that's French inspired.
Try to French mirror.
Right. So try to have like 3 of that other style, if you will, in that living room to make it make sense, rather than just being like, oh, this was left over from when we had our chateau in Normandy and we just didn't know what to do with it because everything else is from Pottery Barn. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. No, it would make it flow better if you have more than one, for sure.
Texture. So important. And when you think of texture, I know when I say it, sometimes in my head, I think of like a basket or, something really chunky and woven. It doesn't even have to be that dramatic. It could be a textured pillow. It can be a different fiber rug. It can be bamboo shades or natural woven shades. It can be as simple as a rattan picture frame, but someplace in the room, and ideally more than once, add some texture. And plants. What a great room to add some plants to. Just don't, if you don't spend a lot of time in your living room, don't forget there's a live thing in there, and please water it and spritz it off once in a while. But a plant is a wonderful thing to add. Again, if you do something tall, like you got a palm or something like that, or one of those very famous fiddle leaf figs, you're going to add height to the room, an organic element. You cannot go wrong with it. But don't just leave it in the plastic container that it comes in. Certainly not the one with the holes in the bottom, but not even, sometimes they give you a plastic one that goes over the one that has the holes in it. get yourself a nice basket or a nice, even if you wanted to do a terracotta inside, you could do something like that, or you could do a glazed one. Give the plant something nice to sit in. That's going to really make a difference. And for not too much money, really change the look of a corner in your living room.
I love the idea of plants in your room. And I just think you can't go wrong with that. It brings the outdoors in, and it's going to make it feel more cozy. And speaking of how you can make the ceilings feel more tall, another thing you can do is paint the trim the same color as the wall, so then it feels like the wall goes up a little bit taller than it does. So, that's another option.
So you're saying paint all the trim in that room the same color as the wall?
Yeah, I guess you could. I guess that would be weird to do the top one. I guess you could just do the top, but I think I would do both because I would want the trim to match.
Right. I think that's a real look now that's kind of popular and people are trying it out. I know Farrell and Ball, like all their catalogs, they're out showing all the trim in the same color of the walls.
Or you could even do a similar color, but just a little bit lighter or darker.
Mm-hmm.
I think it would have a
so
similar
you just don't
effect.
have that cut of the line. Because I think that's like the way I dress. Like I like to wear all one color kind of in a sense because I'm not tall. So if I've got, a shirt that's one color and then if I have a belt and I have pants in another color, I look shorter. But if I had something all black on, I look taller.
Well, I'm short-waisted, so I have the same thing going on. I look like I don't have a waist if I'm wearing two different colors. So yeah, I have to wear the same color too.
You look fabulous all the time.
Oh,
don't even.
Darling, so do you.
Thank you. Well, pillows, did we talk about them enough, do you think?
I don't think we did. I mean,
Okay.
Go for it.
So pillows, if you do nothing else, change those pillow covers. It's so easy. It's so inexpensive, too, for a lot of them. And I think you can get a pretty nice pillow cover for like $9.99 on some of these websites, on Amazon and places like that. Remember that toile one that I was telling everyone about?
Oh, yes.
A ton of people bought that one. It was great, but there are other companies that are doing that. So if you don't want to break the bank, but you want a little something to change up and freshen up your living room, a pro tip is to change out your pillow covers, but please do make sure that you have good inserts because a good insert will last you a long time and it is well worth the money that you will spend.
Absolutely. And one last tip I have for today, and that is to add a touch of black to the room. So just like a painting needs lights and darks, you want lights and darks in your room. And I just think a little bit of black adds a beauty and richness to every room.
That is a great idea. And we would love to see some of your living rooms. I'm sure so many of them are incorporating all these pro tips already. So send a picture as is, or if you're taking these tips to heart and you're in your living room and you're taking stuff out and moving stuff around, send us a before and after picture because we really, really love those. So what's our IG feature?
Do you remember in Pride and Prejudice, Elizabeth Bennet has a friend who marries Mr. Collins. So she becomes Miss Collins. But before that, she has a maiden name. Do you remember her name?
Oh my gosh.
I'm kind of putting you on the spot here, I know.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, I'll tell you.
I can't remember.
Well, not that you normally would.
But it's one of my fave books. Yeah. Okay.
I know, mine too. Charlotte Lucas. Does that sound familiar?
Charlotte Lucas. Okay.
So our feature is Charlotte Lucas, but not the one from the book.
Okay.
She is a designer. And actually, her Instagram handle is Charlotte H. Lucas. And she has been featured in Architectural Digest, House Beautiful, Veranda, Elle Decor, etc., etc., etc. And she has beautiful interiors. These are elegant, high-end. You're going to get so many great ideas from them. I thought it was beautiful. What did you think?
Oh, it's beautiful. It really is. Lots of color. Yeah, I saw lots of traditional pieces, but done in really interesting ways. Beautiful fabrics. It's really nice.
Yeah, I thought she did a wonderful job with her feed.
Yeah, so everybody should check it out. Give a follow. And BritBox just keeps getting better. The new Archie is amazing. And it's not the comics. It's about Cary Grant. Archie is the brand new limited series starring Jason Isaacs as Archie Leach, the man who became Cary Grant. From the award-winning screenwriter of Philomena, Archie tells Grant's born in Britain, made in Hollywood story, the dramatic grit to glamour transformation that led him to become one of the most famous people in the world. You are going to absolutely love the acting, but also the styling, the outfits, the scenery. It's the first time his story has been told in collaboration with his daughter Jennifer Grant and ex-wife Diane Cannon. The performances from Jason Isaacs and the rest of the cast are amazing, and it's only available on BritBox. So sign up for BritBox today to stream Archie and other fan favorites from any device. And we have a special limited time offer for our U.S. and Canadian listeners. Get 50% off, yes, that's 50% off your first month when you sign up for a monthly plan. But only if you go to BritBox.com and use our promotion code DTT at checkout. You're going to love Archie. So head over right now and get 50% off your first month of BritBox. Use the promotion code DTT at BritBox.com. Inevitably, with the new year come wellness goals. One very effective and easy to reach goal is to add Dose to your wellness regime. Dose is expertly formulated organic wellness shots that support your liver in one delicious drink. Formulated with ingredients clinically shown to support liver health. Potent turmeric, milk thistle, and ginger. There's 0 sugar and 0 calories. Did you know that your liver performs over 500 special functions? Since I learned all that my liver is doing, I started with Dose to support all those vital functions. I take a shot of refreshing Dose 2 times per week to combat everyday toxins from food, meds, alcohol, and unhealthy air. Since starting with Dose about a month ago, I am definitely feeling an overall improvement in my health. So if you want to give Dose a shot and invest in your health like I have, Dose is offering DTT listeners 15% off your first order, plus an additional 15% off if you subscribe for a monthly delivery. That's 30% off your first order. So go to dosedaily.co/DTT and use the code DTT. That's dosedaily.co.co/DTT and use the code DTT. Let's talk about our crushes. I am loving this woman, and I have used her as a crush before, and I just can't get enough of her. Heather Robertson gives the best free workout on YouTube. It is amazing. She's doing now this 7-day glow up workout, and I did it day 3 right before I came in here to record the podcast. And boy, I know I'm going to be sore when I stand up, but it's amazing. So if you haven't tried Heather's workouts yet, please do yourself a favor and do it. You know, it is bathing suit season, ladies. And gents. So definitely worth it. She doesn't give you all the woohoos and yada-das. She just gets right down to it. And she has a very simple background. She's very easy to follow. She lets you know exactly what's coming at you. There's no guesswork. And you don't waste time running around trying to get equipment or figuring out the move. It's simple, straightforward, and you get a great workout. So if you haven't tried Heather yet, check her out, and specifically check out the 7-day glow up workout.
Nice. Well, mine sort of has to do with the workout, but not.
Okay.
Well, I was talking about what I was going to do with my yard.
Yeah.
Because I put the jasmine in the front yard, and then I was trying to decide what to do with the backyard. We talked about the faux grass.
Yeah.
Versus, because I was just not wanting to deal with all the lawn crew in my backyard all the time. So I decided to go with mowing my yard myself. So that's going to be my workout. I went ahead and got an electric mower. We talked about the push mower too. Mm-hmm. The what is that called? The reel mower.
Yes.
REEL.
Yes. That's what we have.
So, well, we looked at that, but I went ahead and got an electric mower. And so really I just have to mow the backyard now. But I thought it's so small. I got the mower, and then I got the blower and the weed eater, and they all share the same battery. So you can just get one battery and then use them for all 3 items, which I really like. And they're not nearly as loud as the gas-fired mower or the gas-fired blower.
Honestly, that has to stop. It's so awful.
I know.
I want to go move to a forest somewhere where I don't have anyone blowing the leaves from one person's side of the forest to the other side of the forest. It's ridiculous.
I know. And there's somebody here on the street. There's some crew here every day. And so it can get kind of loud. So I did this tells you how small my backyard is. I was finished with everything in 30 minutes.
Good for you. Good for you that
much.
You're doing that.
So I got a 30-minute workout. Yeah. Although I did get the self-propelled, so maybe it wasn't much of a workout.
No. It definitely is. And you just a thought. Everybody has to do what's right for them. But if you do hire a mow and blow crew to come and do your lawn, see what they're using. Just maybe you never thought about it. If it's a gas-operated blower and mower and all of that, maybe talk to them about it. Because if more people ask them to go electric, or you gave them the option, here, I'll buy you a trimmer and here's a long extension cord, or here's a battery, go for it. They might accommodate you that way, because it is awful, the fumes that are going into the environment in addition to the noise pollution. So I will get off my green soapbox right now, but just something to think about. I would like everyone in my neighborhood to stop doing that. I'm sure that's not going to happen, but the more people that just give it a second thought, maybe, we can stop that. Because I did read somewhere the equivalent of an old one of those blowers going for like an hour is the equivalent of the exhaust coming out of 30 cars.
Crazy. Oh, wow.
Crazy.
That's a lot.
It's a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this was a lot of tips, wasn't it? We have to get back on a high note now.
I know. Well, this was so fun. And I hope this was helpful to you. We enjoyed it.
Yeah, let us know if you like this, the pro tips, because I think it's great. We're just coming at you with all these tips on a certain room or area in your house.
Yeah, so you can go around your living room right now and check off the list and see what you might need to work on. So thanks so much for hanging out with us. And remember, we're here to inspire you to create a beautiful home. Until next time.
Want to talk to us? Well, we really want to talk to you. So let's schedule a design consult. Anita and I are here to give you individualized, actionable advice on how to create the beautiful home you want and deserve. It's so easy to schedule a design consult with us. Simply click the link in the show notes or head to decoratingtipsandtricks.com/consult. When we talk to you on the scheduled time, we will be ready with so many great tips, advice, and yes, tricks. So sign up today for a design consult. We can't wait to talk to you.